Thanks to Thatcher Demko's Vezina-caliber goaltending, Quinn Hughes' Norris Trophy-winning performance, JT Miller's first-ever 100-point campaign, crucial depth scoring from players like Dakota Joshua, Connor Garland, and Niels Big Hog Höglander, and the incredible coaching staff led by the 2024 Jack Adams winner Rick Tocchet, the Vancouver Canucks were one of the best teams of the 2023-2024 NHL season. And nobody, except for some of us, saw it coming. The Vancouver Canucks were good. But guys, I have news. They got better. In this video, I'm going to be going over every single move the Canucks made during the 2024 offseason, but first, let's pay our respects to the players they chose not to keep on the roster, and while we do that, I'm going to tell you a bit about the sponsor of today's video, HighRoller.com. Look, I like hockey. I like everything about it, whether it's the pure elation of puking your lungs out when your favorite player scores a beauty, or the gut-wrenching heartbreak that comes after losing Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. There's nothing quite like the high-risk, high-reward nature of hockey, and that's exactly what makes HighRoller.com such an exciting experience. HighRoller.com is a real online money casino with over 3,000 games available, including live dealers and popular table games like blackjack, roulette, and more. And they're offering an exclusive deal for today's first 100 subscribers. Not only will they match the amount you deposit up to 2,000 Canadian dollars, but they're also going to give you 200 free spins. Just click the link in the description of this video to get started. Signing up is fast and easy, and you can play from anywhere on any device. But remember, you must be of legal age to play, and of course, make sure you always play responsibly. Now, let me show you why the Vancouver Canucks are still good. The first move the Canucks made was re-signing the 26-year-old Czech defender FILIP HRONEK to a massive 8-year extension worth $58 million, a contract that most of the fan base seemed to be pretty happy about. Despite a somewhat underwhelming performance in the playoffs, HRONEK's first full season with the Canucks was a massive success. He put up 48 points in 81 games and averaged over 23 minutes of ice time per night. And yet the most exciting part of it all was the chemistry he had with Quinn Hughes. The way they complemented each other's games was a key contributor to Vancouver's success last season, so it makes sense why getting HRONEK locked up long-term was step one this offseason. The very next day, Canucks GM Patrik Allvin added some depth by re-signing right-handed defender Mark Friedman to a 1-year deal. Friedman was traded to the Canucks at the beginning of last season and spent most of the year sitting in the press box as a healthy scratch. However, when Carson Soucy went down with an injury, Friedman stepped into the lineup and played well. Other than the occasional fight or painful-looking block, he wasn't too noticeable, but that's a good thing. He tallied just 1 assist in his 23 games, but he wasn't brought in to score. I think this Canucks fan said it best.
I really liked that he could sit for weeks on end and in a pinch be ready to go when called upon. Tocchet kept saying he was a huge presence on the bench with his teammates. You need guys like this.
It's true, you do need guys like this, and the Canucks got him for another year. A week after the Friedman deal, the Canucks re-signed the Blue Man himself, Teddy Blueger, to a 2-year contract worth $1.8 million per season. Surprisingly, despite coming off a career year, this is actually less than what he was earning last season. I'm sure a more lucrative deal was in the cards for Teddy had he tested the market in free agency, but I suppose he sees an opportunity to win here in Vancouver, and if that's the case, I couldn't agree more. And then, just a few hours after re-signing the Blue-Man, the Canucks traded ILYA MIKHEYEV, Sam Lafferty, and a 2027 second-round pick to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for a 2027 fourth-round pick. The primary goal of this deal was to shed ILYA MIKHEYEV's hefty $4.75 million cap hit. He was signed by the Canucks to a 4-year deal in the summer of 2022 after an impressive season with the Maple Leafs where he tallied 21 goals in just 53 games. However, he never even came close to replicating that level of production in Vancouver. In fact, he only scored 1 goal in his final 61 games with the Canucks. Now, as for Sam Lafferty, I think his signing rights were thrown in to sweeten the deal for the Blackhawks, but hilariously, he ended up signing with the Sabres just a few days later. When you break it down, this deal was basically the Canucks trading a second-round pick to the Blackhawks in exchange for a fourth-round pick and $4 million of cap relief, so I'll give it an A. Allvin put the newly acquired cap space to good use the very next day by re-signing the league's tallest player, Tyler Myers, to a 3-year contract worth $3 million per season. But not only that, he also re-signed the fourth-line grinder turned goal-scoring power forward Dakota Joshua to a 4-year contract worth $3.25 million per season. Although it made bringing back fan-favorite defender Nikita Zadorov virtually impossible, I was happy with both of these signings, and it seems like most Canucks fans agree with me, at least when it comes to Dakota Joshua. There seem to be some mixed feelings about the Myers contract. By design, the Canucks left a handful of players unsigned heading into free agency, and all of them ended up signing with new teams before the first day was even through. Casey DeSmith signed a 3-year, $3 million deal with Dallas. Ian Cole signed a 1-year, $3.1 million deal with Utah. Elias Lindholm signed a 7-year, $52.5 million deal with Boston. And Nikita Zadorov signed a 6-year, $30 million deal with Boston. Let's just have a quick moment of silence for the former Canucks. I hope they all score 80 goals, even to Smith. As for who the Canucks acquired, let's start with left winger DANTON HEINEN, who was signed to a 2-year deal worth $2.25 million per season. The 29-year-old BC native is a versatile two-way forward who can play both wings and center, making him a valuable asset on any team. He's reliable on both ends of the ice, has good hockey sense, is a strong skater, and can definitely whip out the occasional dangle when necessary. Although he's not typically a high-scoring player, he's averaged a pace of 15.85 goals per season, including the 17 he put up last year as a member of the Bruins. He'll be wearing Jeff Cowan's old number 20. Allvin also set his sights on right winger KIEFER SHERWOOD, who he signed to a 2-year deal worth $1.5 million per season. The 29-year-old Ohio native is mostly known around the league for his physical style of play, but he also possesses the kind of work ethic, hustle, and tenacity that seems to really thrive under Coach Rick Tocchet's leadership. He's a strong skater, an aggressive forechecker, and even has a pretty sick shot when he's given the opportunity to let it rip. He'll be wearing Todd Bertuzzi's old number 44. Joining his fellow Bruins teammate DANTON HEINEN, defenseman Derek FORBORT signed a 1-year deal in Vancouver worth $1.5 million. Standing at 6'4" and weighing in around 219 pounds, the 32-year-old Minnesotan is known mostly for his size and physicality, but there's more to him than just that. He's a sound stay-at-home defenseman who focuses more on preventing goals rather than scoring them, and he's a fearless shot blocker too. Also, yeah, this is footage of him going after Big Hog, but I forgive him and so should you. He'll be wearing Ben Hutton's old number 27. The Canucks also signed ex-Edmonton Oiler Vincent DESHARNAIS to a 2-year deal worth $2 million per season. The 28-year-old Quebec native is mostly known for his imposing physical presence on the ice. Why? Well, maybe because he's 6'6", French, and 215 pounds. I don't know, maybe that could be why. Similar to Derek FORBORT, DESHARNAIS plays a mean style of stay-at-home defense focused on shutting down the opponent's top players on the penalty kill. Expect big hits and gnarly blocks from him this upcoming season. He'll be wearing Tyler Toffoli's old number 73. Also, I should mention that goaltender Jiri Patera and center Nathan Smith were both signed by the Canucks to 1-year two-way deals and will likely be playing in Abbotsford next season, but who knows. And finally, the big one I know everyone is most excited about, the Canucks signed left winger Jake DeBrusk to a 7-year deal worth $5.5 million per season. The 28-year-old Albertan is known for his speed, offensive instincts, and scoring ability. Since joining the league in 2017, he's averaged a pace of 23.8 goals per season and managed to do so while only playing an average of 15 minutes per night. DeBrusk is also known for his versatility. He can be deployed in various roles, including both the power play and the penalty kill. The consensus among Canucks fans seems to be that he'll be playing on a line with Elias Pettersson, but don't be surprised if he finds chemistry playing with everyone, especially JT Miller. He'll be wearing Ethan Bear's old number 74. All of that happened on the first day of free agency. Welcome to the team, boys. After an incredible performance taking over for an injured Thatcher Demko in the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs, it was clear that ARTÜRS ŠILOVS was ready to be an NHL regular. I think this is why Allvin felt comfortable letting Casey DeSmith walk in free agency. The Canucks brought the young Latvian goaltender back for 2 more seasons at $850,000 per year, and I couldn't be happier about it. He's expected to be backing up Thatcher Demko to start the season. On July 20th, the Canucks signed right winger Daniel Sprong to a 1-year deal worth just $975,000. This could end up being the best signing of the entire offseason. Despite having yet to play a full 82-game season and already having played for 5 different NHL teams, with the Canucks being his 6th, the 27-year-old native of Amsterdam has averaged a pace of 18.25 goals per season since joining the league back in 2015. And the Canucks got him for under $1 million. What a move by Chef Allvin. If he busts, no problem. If he scores, amazing. It's completely risk-free. I expect him to start the season playing up with Pettersson. Okay. Vancouver's 10th overall pick in the 2019 NHL entry draft, Vasily Podkolzin, had yet to make a significant impact in the 137 games he played with the team. And now that the Canucks are in a win-now mode and whale team good, there just isn't much room on the roster for budding prospects who need bottom 6 minutes to develop. Pods was unlikely to make the team this year, and it wouldn't have been fair to keep him in the minors for another season. Because of this, the Canucks traded him to the rebuilding Edmonton Oilers in exchange for a 2025 4th-round pick. It had to be done. It's the business side of hockey that everyone talks about. It's a shame to see Pods go, but I wish him nothing but the best in Edmonton. Maybe he can help them out a bit. And finally, just last week, the Canucks signed left winger SAMMY BLAIS to a professional tryout, also known as a PTO. PTOs are temporary, so they only last the duration of training camp and the preseason, and players on PTOs are not guaranteed a contract, which allows teams to evaluate them up close and see how they fit in with the team system. Plus, players on PTOs don't count against a team's salary cap, which makes it basically like a free trial. If a player isn't offered a contract at the end of their PTO, they just become a free agent again. This kind of deal is often used by veteran players who are looking for an opportunity to continue their careers, but for whatever reason didn't secure a contract in the offseason. Anyway, I love this move for the Canucks because Sammy Blais has shown in years past that he can be an absolute stud. The 28-year-old Quebec native is a tough, skillful forward, exactly the kind Rick Tocchet loves. In fact, he played a key role on the 2019 Stanley Cup winning St. Louis Blues team. In my opinion, this was a great move by the Canucks, and I hope he earns a spot on the roster. So, are the Canucks finished? I would have said yes if you asked me last week, but with the recent news that Thatcher Demko might not be fully healed in time for the start of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if Allvin puts his chef hat back on and started cooking. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks to these wonderful Nuckheads for supporting the channel by clicking the join button. Thank you for watching. Regularly scheduled Nuckhead content is back. Bye.
With the Hughes brothers officially named the NHL 25 cover athletes. Congratulations, fellas.
Thank you.